taking three.
Going for the St. Louis now.
Oh no!
Son of a bitch.
You get your two?
Yeah. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thotgor here, of course. So today we're going to take a look at the Zao, and you'll notice that I am grouped up with Crowson today. This is a battle that we actually played yesterday. Before we get too far into the video, obviously, just to mention, XSplit is back. Yes, they patched it, and it's all bugged out now, apparently, with the new patch. So I just downloaded the older version, and it's fine. So everything is good there. That front is great. And next thing, just thank you so much for everyone who responded back to, what they would like to see in terms of rewards and the contests or whatever to get those rewards. So that's excellent. I'm taking it all under consideration as well. Any more ideas or comments, obviously leave them. It's good to know, we can just add maybe extra new ideas and whatnot. So that's great. And we can expect subscriber rewards, like I said, mid to late February. Anyway, in the Zaos today, so you'll notice that we're taking a look at this from Crowson's point of view, right? This is because the battle was played yesterday. I hadn't gotten the fix for XSplit as of yet, so I wasn't able to get any of it recorded, but luckily Crowson had replays enabled, and he was able to send those to me, so we're able to take a look at it today. So fantastic. So you can see that we're on Shatter, right? Hooray, hooray is what I thought. But, like I said, I've been taking it because, again, you guys have been providing me with some excellent information as well. So that's really great. Just about this map specifically. So I've been taking that into account here, and I pretty much knew off the bat that we were going to end up playing a defensive game over here. Right, you can see Crowson and I talking. We're sort of discussing at this point as well, right? We're going B2 line basically, wanting or hoping that we can push through, but it's not actually going to happen because you'll notice a number of enemy ships are popping up, right? I mean, there's an Iowa back there, there's a North Carolina. If we haven't seen the Yamato yet, the Yamato will be making an appearance. So it's fairly obvious, more or less from this get-go, that this west side that we're on is going to be defensive, right? We're going to have to play defensively over here. Hopefully we can manage to stay alive. Hopefully we can manage to take out the enemy destroyers, right? We can see one here in order to save our battleships. That's, all of the plans that are happening right now. So we can see the enemy destroyer that Crowson is lining up on, firing high explosive at him as well, getting a really nice hit on that destroyer, right? Almost about half his health gone, so that is fantastic. Unfortunately, Crowson did expose a broadside while doing this and paid a price for it, right? It's really hard not to get yourself into a position where, you're going to be exposing a broadside at one point or another, because you do eventually have to turn out of it. Luckily for Crowson, though, managed to survive and get the repair going as well. So he's back to about 50% health, so that is great. You can see that we do have, right now, at the beginning of the battle, a bit of support over here in the west as well. In terms of 2 destroyers with us, there is also a Tirpitz, and I believe a Izumo is over here as well at this point, or maybe the Izumo is on his way, because you'll notice there's a battleship still in our base, right? Anyway, so we do have a bit of support over here, and on the east, those guys over there, they play a really good game as well. You can't. This whole battle is attributed to teamwork, not only teamwork between myself and Crowson, but the teamwork that the random people were displaying as well. That is what made this victory possible, of course. So there is another enemy destroyer, Shimikaze. So it's a huge threat to have in the channel over there. You can see Crowson put in a few speculative shots before the Shimikaze popped out of view. I launched off a few shots myself as well. So hopefully those are going to do something. Now, just taking a look here as well at the enemy battleships, because this was a pretty big threat over here. You notice as well they had some cruiser support in terms of a Rune. The Rune is a pretty great cruiser. I've got mine. I do enjoy it. We are going to get some videos up on the Rune as well, of the Rune on the channel soon enough anyway. There is a nice hit on the Shimikaze, so excellent job by Crowson there. Managed to set the Shimikaze on fire, take out his engines. Now, trying to line up some more shots on him as well before he pops out of cover. In come the torpedoes from the Shimikaze, right? So they're off in the distance. Luckily, we're able to see them from a far distance out. So it gives us lots of time to actually maneuver and be able to avoid those torpedoes. So that is great. because you really don't want those torpedoes coming in and just ruining everyone's day basically on your team. That would just be awful. Turning back around, right, and you can see Crowson and I are communicating as well in amongst division chat. So this is really nice to have the whole division chat since they added this. I'm not sure when they added this. It might have been the most recent patch or maybe the last patch before it. But it definitely is a benefit here in the game, because now you can talk in and amongst your division without having to subject yourself to the random comments of the random people on your team, right? Most of the time, those people don't have that constructive of things to say. Now, obviously, that is subject to outliers, right? People who often have very informative stuff to put in the chat there, which is really good and it helps the team. Doesn't happen that often though. Anyway, it's about at this time, right, that you can see we're talking in chat here as well. And the Turpits, or rather, I have mentioned in chat there that I'm playing the defense, right? It's more than obvious at this point in time. There's no way that we're going to be able to push through these enemies, just Crowson and I, 2 Zows, right? We can't do it. We are cruisers after all. What I was hoping was that the Izumo, who's now in play with us over here, and the Turpits would do something, right? They would group together and maybe push forward. That doesn't actually happen, and it's not necessarily their fault either. As you notice, we have, like I say, we still have these destroyers up in front of us, but keep in mind there are still enemy destroyers in and around here, right? And they are going to pose a fairly big issue for us here once our destroyers sort of go somewhere else, right? Move out of the area, basically. So that is fairly unfortunate, but to play to our advantage, you'll notice as well the enemy ships we're facing off against, most of them are fairly damaged, right? Like the Iowa, the Yamato's even taking some damage, the Rune is almost dead. The only thing I think that hasn't taken much damage is the Hindenburg over there that we see. He's so far out that, yeah, we can't really shoot at him right now. Anyway, putting shots into the Yamato, we can see him over there as well. And on Crowson's ship here, he is firing high explosive right now, but it's going to be interesting to note later on he's going to fire some armor piercing at the Yamato and does some amazing damage, which is really surprising. I didn't notice it. He was commenting about it in the game, but I was just so focused on what was happening at the time, didn't really notice it. It wasn't until I went back and saw the replay that I saw him commenting like, yeah, he was doing significant damage to that Yamato with the armor piercing. Switching targets to the Iowa now, you can see that we do have friendly torpedoes on the way for the Yamato. There they are there, so it was launched, I believe, by one of our Shimikaze, so that is fantastic. Hopefully those are going to hit, at least some of them anyway. We can see as well that out here in the open where Crowson is, it's a good point to sort of take a look at the battle, what's going on. Obviously defensive maneuvers here as well, right, because you don't want to give the enemy a broadside and have them come in and kill you. But just a good opportunity to take a look around. There we can see the enemy destroyer. So Shimikaze over there. There is another enemy destroyer in here as well. You can see that for the most part, every now and then we've had to dodge torpedoes, right? Enemy torpedoes that have been coming in. And it's these torpedoes that have really been messing up our battleships, our Izumo and the Turpits. Because what it's doing is, even if those torpedoes don't hit our battleships, it's still forcing them to maneuver and potentially for them to lose shots that they might have been able to take, find themselves out of position all of a sudden. So it's still disrupting their whole attempt at the defense, or even if they're trying to push here, right? So it's kind of unfortunate that this is happening, but we really need to take these guys down, and we are trying. We are trying. Crowson has his defensive fire on his Zao. I have my acoustic sonar ability on the Zao. So I'm trying to move in. You can see me here off in the distance, trying to move in to get the acoustic sonar ability off and potentially take out one of the enemy destroyers. We can see the other enemy destroyer is popped up on the mini-map there. And one of our destroyers right now is engaging him, and hopefully he'll take that guy out, because it's a Shimikaze, enemy Shimikaze. There he is there. And in fact, there's the other enemy destroyer, right? So it's kind of tragic that they're all here at once. We've got the two of them. Our destroyer is on really, really low health, and there he goes. He's gone now, so that is fairly tragic. The other destroyer that we had over here with us, not a bad play by this guy at all. You know, he didn't necessarily abandon us because we were able to hold out over here. But what that allied destroyer, the Shimikaze, has done is put himself into a position where he can start putting pressure on the enemy cap and even working in and behind the enemy battleships that we're dealing with right now. So that is pretty good. That is not too bad at all, and I was glad to see it as well, because it's this Shimikaze that is really going to save us in the end. Like, so far, we haven't done a whole lot. We have taken out enemy ships, granted, but it's mostly been on the defense and the people over there on the east, right, that have done that. And over here on the defense, we haven't, or sorry, mostly been the people over in the east who have taken out the enemy ships. Over here on the defense, you know, we're pounding away at the enemy, but overall kills and taking enemies out, we haven't gotten too many kills in that sense. So yeah, we're still holding our own over here though. So Crowson is coming back in and around to get some more shots off at the enemy ships in the distance as well. You can see the Iowa over here putting shots into Crowson now as well. And there's still, of course, the Hindenburg, the Rune, and the Yamato. They are still over there. And, you know, the four of them is a pretty big threat. In terms of enemy destroyers, there are still the two enemy destroyers. There's a Shimikaze that we know of, and then there's that second enemy destroyer in and around over here as well, right? So still need to keep these guys in mind. You can see on the mini-map that where I am positioned is I'm over by the Izumo right now. I'm trying to screen this guy from enemy destroyers and enemy torpedoes because it was getting fairly ridiculous. I was trying my best just to protect these guys, right? I'm the cruiser, I'm trying to screen them, get the enemy destroyers gone. It's really hard though at these tier 10 levels, obviously. We've got a Gearing, we've got a Shimikaze, like these guys, you know, those are good destroyers, and the players who are captaining them in this battle, at least, you know, seemed fairly competent because they were giving us a fairly rough time. Luckily though, you know, right now, we're both still here. We do still have our battleships as well, so that is great. So Crowson's moving in closer to the enemy ships over here, trying to get some strikes in, right? Turning and using the Allen as whatever cover he can possibly manage, and he does get hit and takes a bit of damage, but is still alive because luckily he repaired before all this took place, right? So that's sort of the saving grace here as well. You can see, or rather you saw briefly when Crowson looked over there. Rather, let's just forget that. But anyway, look at the armor-piercing shots come in. I wanted to make sure that we point this out here, right? So armor-piercing shots go in. Blam. That was a bunch of damage. So that is not too shabby at all. And you'll notice, important to note here when you are firing armor piercing like this, and especially on the Yamato, because, you know, it has a lot of armor, is you want to aim for the shots to land on the superstructure, right? You don't want to hit the side of the ship. You're not going to penetrate the armor if you hit the side of the ship. You notice that salvo did a little bit less damage, and if you looked carefully enough, you would have noticed that some of those shells actually hit the side of the Yamato, so they're not going to do any damage, but the shells that come in over the side and hit the superstructure of the ship, yeah, those are going to do a lot of damage. There is one of the enemy destroyers. Unfortunately for this guy, he's popped up right in front of Crowson and myself, so I've got shots going in, Crowson has shots going in, and he gets the kill. Fantastic. So that guy is gone. We only have the one enemy destroyer over here on this side now, so that is pretty great. You can see myself off in the distance there. I am dodging some enemy torpedoes. One does hit me, but it wasn't too bad at all because I was able to repair and heal immediately, so that's not too bad. Still have the enemy Yamato over there. Now the enemy Yamato, though, is turning away from us. He's disengaging at this time, so that's pretty good. Crowson is working his way up to the turrets, right? At this point in time, I think that's what he was doing. That's what he's planning on doing anyway. Just to go up there and help screen the turrets a little as well, right? I was up there screening the Izumo. Now Crowson is going to attempt to get up there and screen the turrets, which just makes sense. We want to keep these battleships alive, and notice where the turrets is positioned right now as well, right? So it's, you know, not the best position for that battleship right now. Macau comes over. We can see him here. He's going to start helping us out over here as well, which is really good. We really wanted to Rather, we really, benefited from his support over here just by having him here, right? Another allied ship to set more fires to things and protect us from any air attacks that may happen, which don't actually come about, which I was really surprised about, in fact. Anyway, moving back in, you can see we still have the enemy ships off in the distance, right? The same ships we've had this entire battle. We can see Crowson is now moving towards the allied turrets, right? Again, he's in the north. Gonna try and screen this guy. Keep in mind, though, there is still one destroyer remaining. We have no idea where this guy is. Crowson is now spotted, so obviously the destroyer is around. We have a general sense as to where, he's definitely in this area. And then torpedoes start popping up. Damn. Yeah, there's just no way to avoid this whole spread here. It's the enemy Shimakaze, right? So there we go. Crowson goes. And that sucked too. But what a game. I mean, Crowson played here, he and I, right, while we were together going. I mean, I'm still alive, so we're quickly going to switch over to myself. But yeah, you can see I type in chat that, damn, right? Crowson's gone. Oh well, we still have a number of ally ships over here on the defense. The Tirpitz is still alive. He's just over there, kind of getting himself out of the torpedo range, or out of not necessarily torpedo range, because those torpedoes can go really fast, but just disengaging, right? We still have the Izumo, he's around, and we still have the Macau. So we switch over to myself. Now, before we, continue along, yeah, it's jumping around. Look at the ship jumping, yeah, fairly annoying. It's only actually going to happen for maybe another 30 seconds. What is going on here is I'm being dumb in the replay system, yeah, and I didn't realize I had to click the mouse to actually snap it to the ship view so everything would be smooth. Yeah, so I apologize. I could have edited it out, but whatever, it's fine. So you can see here I am moving in, right? I'm going to take the lead at this point in time. You can see the Izumo is kind of up there. If we're looking at the mini-map, the Izumo is kind of up there and exposed on his own. So I'm going to try and swoop in here, right, and start dealing with some of these enemy ships. Maybe try and actually get some of them gone. Because the Yamato off in the distance over here, he doesn't have much health remaining. Granted, a Yamato can still, heal a whole bunch, right? So there is still that, but I'm going to try and start finishing off some of these enemy ships. The Iowa is also on really low health. There's the Yamato there. He's almost gone now. There we go. Fantastic. Managed to kill him, and I got myself an arsonist for doing it as well, so that's not too bad, because I did set a lot of fires to that Yamato. I really burnt him down. I do have Demolition Expert as the 4th skill on my Zhao commander, and I'm pretty happy with it. It's pretty great, because your armor piercing on the Zhao does a whole crap ton of damage, and if you find yourself in a situation where maybe it's not going to do as much damage, you can always fire off the high explosive, set a bunch of fires, and just burn a target down. Anyway, now that the Yamato's gone, I'm going to start engaging the Iowa. You can see, though, I've made a fatal mistake here, right? I've turned to starboard and exposed the port side of my ship. This was really tragic. In come the shells from the Iowa and take me out, right? Yeah, still learning. I really should have made the turn to port a slight turn to port as opposed to starboard like I did, and avoid the incoming shells and then make my turn, right? Do the turn while the enemy battleship is reloading. Anyway, doesn't matter. I managed to set a fire to the Iowa and get the kill. Yes, I did. So managed to get myself, it's about a flesh wound, so that is not too shabby. And here we go. This is the ally Shimakaze from the beginning of the game. He was helping us originally over on the west side. We commented about how he had left, sort of went into the center and started putting pressure on the enemy base. Well, here he is. He's in there capping it out, so fantastic, good show by that guy. And you can see as well what I meant at the beginning of the game, or the beginning of the replay here, in terms of teamwork, right? If it wasn't for Crowson, myself, the Izumo, the Tirpitz, our destroyers, if it wasn't for the entire team pulling together here and playing the defense while we had ships putting pressure on the enemy base, we wouldn't have been able to pull this off. Because, if they would have broken through that defense, it would have been all gone. And it's not too often that you see the majority of your ships playing a defense like we were. It was really, really something. So, good job on the team here. The team is the reason why we're able to pull this off. So the battle is almost over, right? We've got less than a minute on the clock here. You can see the Macau is hunting down the last enemy destroyer, because it's only the enemy destroyer and enemy aircraft carrier remaining. As long as we can get these guys gone, you know, we could win it before the timer actually goes. Meh. Not really that important though, is it? Right? I think we can all wait a few seconds while the clock ticks down and we win, and while we revel in our victory. I mean, even though Crowson and I both did die, doesn't matter at all, right? We still got some kills, did some good and decent damage. We'll take a look at Crowson's damage numbers here once they come up, but it was still a good game. The enemy destroyer pops some smoke there, so we know he's over there, so the Macau puts a few shots into him. You can see the ally puts a few shots into him there as well. So the Tirpitz, battle is over. Victory, right? So Crowson, 1 kill, 284,000 and 3,900 experience. So that's pretty good, not too shabby at all there. Set some fires, did some critical damage, about, 95 hits. That is also fairly decent as well. Crowson was top of the team overall. I came in second overall, so that is not too bad. Our division placed first and second. But you can see, take a look at the team scores, right? Like everyone, basically, it's just that Macau there on the bottom, but almost everyone got at least 1,000 basic XP, so that was fairly fantastic. Damage numbers for Crowson weren't too bad. 79,000 damage is what we're looking at there. May as well round it up and just call it about 80,000. So that's not too shabby at all, especially considering the targets we had to go up against, right? The amount of maneuvering and defense maneuvering needed to do. Because we both died, you know, Crowson only managed to take out 29,000 credits. I think I managed to take out 36,000 credits in that battle, but, you know, obvious reasons we died and repair costs. Anyway, that is today's video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy it. You know, leave any comments as always that you have for me in the video comment section below. Love reading those and responding back to them. Hit the old like button if you did like today's video. Hit subscribe if you are not a subscriber. And as always, I do hope you enjoy the rest of your day.